Right now at 6, Portland sustains yet another major hit.
It's the cumulative effect. U.S. Bank preparing to pull out a big tank, Wells Fargo pulling out.
As another flagship bank says it plans to take its business elsewhere. Also ahead, national politics make an unwelcome appearance. Why the Beaverton School District is calling an attack ad from Texas Senator Ted Cruz alarming. Then, the changes Oregon's second biggest school district plans to roll out, it says, will make students safer. Plus,
I have decided for personal reasons to resign from my position as president.
How a sudden turn of events at OHSU involving the governor left a potential new pick for president on hold.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Malko. Our top story at 6, Wells Fargo will reportedly pull its global operations business out of the Portland area before the end of next year. That's according to the Oregonian, which obtained an internal email sent to employees. Let's get right to John Adams live at the Wells Fargo Center downtown. So, John, how many workers could be impacted here?
David, we believe this could impact up to 1,000 workers spread out between some here at the Wells Fargo Center in downtown Portland and at offices in Hillsborough and Salem. Wells Fargo could be the latest Fortune 500 company to announce major layoffs in the Portland area. In an email to employees attained by Mike Roggaway of the Oregonian, the company plans to consolidate its global operations divisions, which employs people in Portland, Hillsborough, and Salem.
The emails the bank sent to employees suggested that most of those jobs are going away in all those locations.
Roggaway says the company has since suggested to employees that certain positions could be retained in other cities across the United States, but it's unclear how many of those roughly 1,000 employees would be given that opportunity. Wells Fargo declined to answer any specifics about the email sent to workers and failed to confirm with KGW whether they intend to leave the area. But a spokesperson with the company did provide this statement, saying, "We regularly review and adjust staffing levels to align with market conditions and the needs of our businesses. We work hard to identify opportunities for employees and other parts of the company so we can retain as many employees as possible." Roggaway says the potential of hundreds of employees leaving the Wells Fargo Center is just the latest hit to downtown Portland, which has one of the highest office vacancy rates in the country.
Again, it's the cumulative effect. U.S. Bank preparing to pull out a big tank, Wells Fargo pulling out. You know, what we aren't having is we're not having large new people announce that they're moving into downtown.
Now, David, this isn't the only time in the last few years that Wells Fargo has eliminated positions here in the Portland area. They've eliminated 400 positions going back to just 2022, most of those coming from their offices in Hillsborough. Now, we did also reach out to Portland Metro Chamber. They declined to comment on this situation at this time. Back to you.
Yeah, we'll see if we're calling the building behind you something else by the end of next year. Thank you, John. In your headlines, Clark County health officials are once again warning that whooping cough cases are way up this year, and several schools have seen recent exposures. Health officials have seen 342 cases of the infection, also known as pertussis, so far this year, compared to just 14 last year. Statewide, it's 900 compared to 41. Pertussis, a highly contagious bacterial infection that can make it hard to breathe. Officials say the best defense is vaccination, and they are most worried about infants.
We have a large susceptible population, and this is a very contagious disease. It's airborne, it's a respiratory illness, and it's very contagious.
Columbia River High in the Vancouver district sent a message to families yesterday about a possible exposure. The Evergreen district says 3 schools have had recent cases. Authorities in Bend say the 12-year-old who allegedly brought a loaded gun to school had a list of people they intended to target. This happened earlier this week at Pilot Butte Middle School. Authorities say the student told a school employee they had the gun. They were taken to a juvenile detention center where they remain in custody. One of their parents has been cited for improper storage of a firearm. The Salem-Keizer School District says it plans to launch new safety measures, including metal detectors at all its high schools. The district ran a pilot last school year, and a survey says some 50% of students and 75% of staff reported feeling safer. Cost estimates for the changes are pegged at around $1.5 million. And some more grim news when it comes to the city's budget, with outgoing Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler recommending most city services find ways to cut at least 5% from their budgets, in some cases up to 8%, though there are exemptions for police, fire, and emergency communications. City leadership will present a trial budget for community feedback by the end of February. From there, it'll be up to the new mayor and 12-member city council to refine and approve it. Matt?
All right, David, I think a lot of people approved of the weather today. It was sunny, it was warm, but that is beginning to change even as we speak. You can see the clouds are beginning to roll in. We're still in the 60s. We still have an east wind. Had some pretty good gusts, over 60 miles an hour parts of the gorge today. But those winds will begin to die off here, and the winds are going to begin to ramp up at the Oregon coast. It is 58 at the beach, and the winds are light right now. But that won't be the case later on tonight. Up in the Cascades, you can still see Mount Jefferson, but the clouds are beginning to roll in and pretty warm, up 6,000 feet, 54 degrees. Boy, is that ever going to change as we go to the end of the weekend and next week. On Doppler radar, you can see the rain now hitting the southern Oregon coast and moving inland. There's a high wind warning on the northern Oregon coast beginning in about an hour or so. The headlines: rain late tonight in the Portland area. I think we'll get those high school football games in before it begins to rain. Windy at the coast and more rain this weekend. We'll break that down later, David.
At least we got a dry football night, we hope. Thanks, Matt. Now at 6, the vote for a new OHSU president is on hold after the governor waded into the conversation some 24 hours after the previous president announced he was stepping down. Celine Stevens is live on Markham Hill. So Celine, walk us through what happened today.
David, so after what they say were hours of deliberations, OHSU's board of directors announced that they were going to be tabling the appointment for the next president. Now, President Jacobs was at this meeting, and he didn't give a clear reason as to why he's resigning, but a new lawsuit filed suggests that there might be some other reasons.
I have decided for personal reasons to resign from my position as president. I'm pleased to have had the opportunity to work for and with you.
Thursday, President of OHSU, Dr. Danny Jacobs, announced he was stepping down from his role. His reasons why during Friday's board meeting were vague. When Jacobs announced his resignation, OHSU revealed the board would contemplate appointing Dr. Nathan Selden, the current dean of the School of Medicine. But that didn't happen.
After deliberation, the board has decided to table the motion to appoint a new president today.
The reason why? Not clear. However, Governor Tina Kotek released a statement today that said in part that it would be a mistake to push through a decision of this magnitude without appropriate due diligence.
We are fortunate at OHSU to have incredible leaders ready to step forward to move this institution into the future. I want to thank Dr. Nate Selden for his willingness to step up in this moment. I have no doubt he will continue to be a top candidate for the position.
President Jacobs' decision to step down came on the same day a current employee sued the university for more than $6 million. Dr. David Jacoby is a current professor at OHSU, but was the dean of the School of Medicine until he was forced to resign earlier this year by Jacobs. Jacoby claims leadership unfairly blamed him for how the school handled allegations that another doctor was secretly taking photos of female students wearing skirts. That doctor got a $46,000 President's Recognition Award just before he resigned. The complaint says that President Jacobs actually approved the award, but OHSU leadership blamed Jacoby for it instead. OHSU wouldn't comment on the lawsuit or if it had anything to do with Jacobs stepping down. Jacoby's lawyer told me he believes Jacoby was used as a scapegoat and believes there's no coincidence between Jacobs resigning and the lawsuit. The governor's office also followed up with me today to say that the governor believes that the process for appointing the next president merits a transparent deliberation and that she appreciates that the board listened to her feedback. OHSU tells me that President Jacobs will remain as president until the next successor is appointed. David, back to you.
Celine Stevens reporting tonight. Thank you, Celine. Developing this evening, the Beaverton School District wants an attack ad by Texas Senator Ted Cruz pulled because it features 2 Oregon teens on a controversial subject without context or, turns out, consent. Devin Haskins is live at Westview High, where one of those teens goes to school. Devin?
Yeah, David, as soon as the district learned about the ad featuring one of their students wearing a sweatshirt with their logo on it, they fired off a letter to the Ted Cruz campaign asking that ad get removed immediately.
I'm Ted Cruz, and I approve this message.
The 30-second ad posted to the Cruz campaign's YouTube page has been viewed more than 6,000 times, and it attacks his opponent's record on transgender rights.
And Colin Allred voted in Congress to oppose Texas state law.
It focuses on transgender youth participating in sports. At the end of the ad is a photo shown for 3 seconds of 2 Oregon teens, one wearing a Westview High School sweatshirt and another in a track uniform. The photo appears to be taken from a news report by a Bend news station in April, talking about a transgender teen running in the state track meet. The other student in the photo is a Bend area high school student. Once aware of the ad, the Beaverton School District says they fired off a letter to the Cruz campaign requesting the ad be taken down from all platforms. They didn't give Cruz permission to use it and say the 2 teens are both female and not transgender. The letter went on to say, "It is alarming that your campaign would have produced, distributed, promoted this ad with false information, especially with minor children involved." The Cruz campaign responded to KGW's request for comment, saying, "The picture features a female athlete who spoke out against boys playing in girls' sports after participating in a track meet where a biological male beat female athletes and impacted individual and team medal results." The campaign did not write back when asked again about showing the faces of minors and using the photo without context. The Cruz campaign spokesperson also tells me that ad has not been on TV in about a week, but it is still on their YouTube channel, garnering thousands of views. David?
Devin Haskins there. Devin, appreciate your reporting on this.